to my channel. My name is McCloud. I am a Georgia-based makeup artist, and for today's tutorial, being that it's February 1st, we're gonna do a Valentine's Day look, and we're gonna start off pretty detailed, okay? So we're doing cut creases. We might even add a few little gems. Not quite sure, but we're gonna do something colorful and fun. And if you wanna see that, just keep on watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, girl. Go ahead and do that. Give this video a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Also check out my other social medias as well. And just join the ride, girl. Just join the ride. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start with prepping the base, prepping our eyes for the eyeshadow. So we use some concealer, and then I did not set the concealer because we're using color today. And this palette is the Rubies palette from Profusion Cosmetics. So I am taking that really pretty red shade and a little bit of that brown, and we're putting that into the crease. And I'm just following the straight direction of where my crease is, which is just that little eye socket, or where my eye folds, in that natural fold of my eye. And we are extending that because I'm aiming to do a full cut crease. So I really wanted to add some definition into the crease by making that as dark as I possibly can. I do have this little sponge thing. It came from the crayon case. It was a brush cleaner. Great investment, because sometimes I need to keep using the same brush. Okay, using another Profusion Cosmetics palette is a Love Struck palette, so I took those two shades to kind of make like a dark pink shade, but I didn't want to be too light because I wanted to stick to red for this first Valentine's tutorial. So I'm using that to blend out the very edges of that first shade that I laid into the crease. And then next I'm going to take this pretty orangey red shade, but I'm muting it a little bit with a slightly pink shade, and I'm going to use that to blend out the edges of the second shade that I put down. Now taking this dark purple and a little bit of that gray shade, and because, you know, purple precedes or comes from the red shade, we're going to incorporate that into this look by deepening the crease using that shade. And I did this because I actually didn't have a black, so I thought, hey, purple was going to make it look even more deepened. So that's what I did. So now we're going to cut or clean up this crease some by using some micellar water on a Q-tip. And we're just going to clean that up some because it's just going to help me with making my cut crease look even more cleaner and making it a tad bit more precise. And using this little Q-tip helps me too, as you saw, with following the direction of my eye and just making it a tad bit more cleaner. So now, taking the same concealer that I used to prep my eyelid space, we are going to take it on a flat brush and cut the crease. Now also, when you clean it up using the micellar water, it gives you a line to trace where you can place your crease. You know, it gives you that direction. It just makes it a tad bit more easier to fill it in. And I am extending it, like I said, so just following the line that I created, kind of flicking it out some towards the outer edge of my eye. And then I will go in with this brush to set that concealer a little bit more, but not using powder, but just blending it out some. And again, focusing more on that crease because I wanted it to be detailed. So I'm deepening it up with more of that purple shade and a little bit of the red shade. And now I'm going in with this little pink shade right here. Now I've been seeing this on TikTok a lot, where the brow bone is a matte shade, but typically, you know, we're using like shimmers and whatnot, but I saw that it was a colorful matte, so I wanted to try that. So now I'm going in and blending out the outer edges, just using every single color I use in the crease and the eyes, and we're putting on the outer edges. Taking this new shade and putting that on the rest of my lid space. It really just opened it up some because I think that this look required it. Again, adding more detail into the crease because I really wanted it to be detailed. I needed a little shimmer. It wouldn't be a look if I didn't have some type of shimmer. So I put that in the center of the eye. And this is what the eye look is giving. Very pretty. And we're going to rush through the brows because, I don't know, I think brows are very routine and repetitive, and I don't need to talk about that all the time. Now for foundation, I'm using the L'Oreal True Match foundation in the shade N8. Now, supposedly this is neutral, and I think it is, but it was warm, so I added a little bit of blue pigment and a little bit of the concealer I'm going to be using also too to lighten it some. And this just canceled out that warmness, but also brought it down a shade. I think I got the wrong shade. And see, I match with my chest often and my neck. And you'll see here where I put it onto my chest, and when I blend it in, I no longer can see it, so that tells me that it matched. I do have a warm undertone, but I also can fall under a neutral. I'm more like a warm neutral, so I have to adjust my foundation shades to match me like that. So taking this brush, I'm just painting the foundation onto my face before I go in and blend it out. I will be using that same foundation on the top of my brows to carve those out to give it just that really clean yet snatch look. I really love when I save this for last instead of, you know, going in and doing my brows. If you watch that brow tutorial that I posted, which you should have watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now for the foundation, I spray my brush with the Morphe setting mist, and then this brush is actually from e.l.f. I think it's like a complexion duo brush, so you see it has two sides on it. Very, very great brush. It's very soft, so it's not as rough when it comes to blending out my skin. And as you can see, it just helps with that product just melting into it. And I like to give a big up to the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist as well, because it just provides even more hydration whenever I do get to apply anything onto my face or any complexion products onto my face. Now, the cool thing about this brush though is because it is a duo brush, that little brush on the end helps me with getting in those very hard to reach places. So sometimes around my brows, like I said, I do the foundation on top. It's hard to use that big brush and blend it out without messing up my brows. So that little brush helped me with that. So now we're going to do some bronzer. This is the curve case from Made by Mitchell. I have two of them, the deep shade and the light. So I'm taking like that second shade in from the bottom as a bronzer shade, because these contain 4 blushes and 4 bronzers. And I think the shade is Shade and Laid, if I'm correct. I think it was that. And I'm using that to bronze my forehead, and I also bronze my cheeks. That's the only place I put bronzer. Oh, and my nose. Those are the only places that I put bronzer on. I used to put it along the jawline and all that, but I don't know. It doesn't make it look cute. I do have a double chin, and I do think sometimes when I apply makeup on that area, it brings the focus to that. I don't want you to focus on my double chin. So I try not to put too much there. So now for blush, I really wanted a pink blush, but not like a baby pink blush. So I mixed those two blushes from the light curve case and the deep curve case, and this is what it created. So it still was like a baby plush pink, but it didn't look ashy, if that makes sense, because the light one wasn't gonna match my skin tone. So I'm happy. Really happy. And I did bring that blush on the apples of my cheeks, the highest points of my cheeks, and around the temple as well. For concealer, this is the Dermablend concealer. I don't have it with me right now, so all the shades will be in the description box. So I use that and just put it under my eyes, because that's typically where I only do concealer. I put a little bit or whatever was left on the forehead, because I just thought it would have made everything look a little bit more even. I use that foundation brush to kind of clean up some and help me blend it out as well. And also using the very end of that foundation brush to apply a little bit more brightness into the inner corner of my eye by using the L'Oreal Infallible concealer in the shade Toffee. For powder, I'm using the Beauty Bakery setting powder in the shade Oat Translucent. Absolutely love this powder. It's the most finely milled powder ever, in my opinion. I got some great ones as well, but this one is just so soft, you know, and it just makes the face look so airbrushed. For powder bronzer, I'm using Juvia's Place's powder bronzer. Are there any other bronzers? There's nothing wrong with Juvia's Place. Nothing wrong at all. I just know that I don't have many blushes and I don't have many bronzers, because powder wise, and I want to try some more. I was thinking about trying Rare Beauty. Did y'all see that Rare Beauty just got put into Ulta? So I'm thinking about purchasing something from there, because I have heard many great things about the blushes and bronzers. Blush, by the way, is also for Juvia's Place. Now I'm just doing some mascara. This is Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I didn't want to put lashes on, so that's why I don't have lashes on. I didn't feel like it today. And sometimes you just need to rock your real lashes, and this mascara is the bomb. Okay, smoking out my bottom lash again, just taking really that purple and all those red shades I had and smoking out the bottom lash line. I just wanted again to add more definition, and I took even more of that purple to kind of add, like, you see that little V shape I did on my eye? That's what I wanted to add to the eye, to add more definition. And now I saw that the brow bone color had kind of faded away, so I went in with a deeper color. And you see what I mean by the brow bone being just a different shade? It just makes it look so much detailed. Now for my waterline, I didn't have a nude pencil, so what I took was a angled brush and a nude shadow, and I just put that in the waterline. Hey, you don't always need a different product to try something. You could just improvise. For lips, this is the, what color is this from Morphe? Trendsetter. Trendsetter lip pencil, and I'm taking that same liquid blush that I had, or the cream blush from the Curve Case that I used on my lips, and I used the Fenty Glow lip gloss from Fenty Beauty, but it was kind of muting it. I didn't want it to be too dark of a pink. I kind of wanted a baby pink shade, so I added more of that cream blush. Spraying on the Morphe Setting Mist and the Makeup Revolution setting spray, and that's it. That is the look, y'all. I really hope you enjoyed the first tutorial of many for Valentine's Day's looks, and hopefully you try this on your next date night. I'll see y'all in the next one.